All right, everybody. We are here today. It is a beautiful Friday afternoon. I'm sitting here with the luxury brand ambassador, Mr. Ewan Morgan, and we are going to be talking Talisker Scotch today. Ewan, I'm excited. I'm excited. We are drinking some luxurious spirits today, and I'm very happy to have you on the show, sir.
Well, I'm very happy to be here. I'm equally excited because I love Talisker. It's one of my favorite distilleries. It was the first smoky whiskey that I fell in love with. I love it so much. When I had two cats, one was called Talisker, the other one was called Skye. Talisker is on the Isle of Skye. That's how much of a loser I am, Jesse. But I adore this distillery, and we're going to be tasting three spectacular examples with the 30, 45, and the brand new 47-year-old. So, yeah.
Ooh, cannot wait to dive into that. Walk me through Talisker. Walk me through the origin story of this brand so that people can get excited about it.
I'll be happy to. It's a old brand. It was founded in 1830 by two brothers called the McCaskill brothers. They were sheep farmers initially, but whiskey's far more exciting than sheep, so they opened a distillery in a small area called Carbost, which is on a sea loch. A loch is a lake in Scotland. If you've heard of Loch Ness, same thing. It's where we invented a monster so tourists would visit, and they do in droves. But it's right, it's made right by the sea. So it's actually breathing in sea air as we make that whiskey. There's an oyster bed right out the front of the distillery. So you can actually go to an oyster shack next door. You can pair Talisker with an oyster. So rather than a mignette, you have a little bit of Talisker whiskey on there. And then slurp, technical term. And then you can pour a little bit more whiskey in there and then have a little oyster luge of the whiskey. So it's also one of the most beautiful places in the world. It's an old volcanic island as well, so there's lots of mountains there. It's very dramatic. It's very beautiful. We get a lot of visitors every year, but it's one of my favorite places in the world, and it's one of my favorite whiskeys in the world. So none of what we're about to do is gonna suck, Jesse.
I now want to visit the distillery just to have an oyster luge. That
Yeah,
entire thing is like all of my favorite things combined right there.
come with me. I'll take you.
Don't threaten me with a good time. Getting me to get there is not the problem. Getting me to leave will eventually become the problem.
You can even do a comedy show there in the local
Hey,
community center.
there we go. Everybody get ready. It's going to be a Talisker good time with some Jesse Jones. We'll see how that goes and if they invite me back after that. We learned a lot of words at your show. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
Yeah, you have to be quite careful there. They can be a little sensitive, but and there's only one way in and out as well. So
Don't know if they'd never let me leave or if they'd want me to leave immediately.
I love
Oh
it.
man, I love that. And the that maritime, that like I that ocean vibe that permeates through the scotch, right? Like that is like one of the essential characteristics of the Talisker brand.
Yeah, absolutely. It's what it's famous for. And even on every bottle, it says "Made by the Sea," and that's really one of its key trademarks. Is when you taste it, and we're gonna taste it in just a moment. You have this incredible, like seaside, ozony, slightly kind of kelp forward note. It has this wonderful, gentle salinity to it. And then obviously we've got some smoke in there that comes from peat that we dry our malt with. But this isn't a super smoky whiskey. This is what we call a medium peated whiskey. So there is an element of smoke in there, but it's not in your face like some of our other whiskeys, like Lagavulin, for example, which is a very smoky whiskey. So there's a really nice integration of smoke, that maritime note, a little chili, a little Sichuan pepper, a little chocolate. It's incredible. We're gonna go on a flavor voyage together here, Jesse.
Well, that's always been one of my favorite things about Talisker is that you get for everybody that wants the peat, you get that a hint of smoke from the peat, but then it also opens up the actual liquid to give you other flavor notes that might be. It's and again, Scotch is like bourbon; it's a preference. Some people like it more peated, some people like it less peated. My favorite part about Talisker is that balance that comes through, where the smoke is there, but then once you get past it, it's just a freaking flavor bomb of all sorts of beautiful notes and textures and flavors.
Yeah. You're as excited about it as I am. I'm loving it.
Well, the goal here is I've got a lot of people that love bourbon, and I'm trying to explain to them how you can have just as good a time with Scotch, if not better, than you have while walking that bourbon trail. And I think Talisker is one of those brands when people get into the liquid, they're like, oh, okay, I see this, and now I want more, and now this has that. And it just is wonderful in how it bridges that flavor gap. Maybe not so much in the sweetness like you get with the bourbon and the corn, but you do get a volumatic, very, very interesting flavor forward pour when you move over to the Scotch Trail.
Yeah. And you know what? We couldn't make Talisker without the bourbon industry. Most of what we're going to taste is matured in ex-bourbon casks because Talisker lends itself to bourbon really well. That vanilla, that sweetness really does help enhance that maritime note, and that smoke is kind of rounded out by that really nice American casks. So if it wasn't for the bourbon industry, we wouldn't be able to make Talisker as delicious as it is. So there you go. There's a wonderful synergistic thing going on there.
There you go. And I love too that the bourbon industry is now borrowing from, probably should have been the entire time, some of the maturation techniques that Scotch has been using since day one.
Yeah.
And we're going to be tasting through some age stated whiskey today. And I love that the bourbon industry is starting to also experiment a little more. Like for the longest period of time, it felt like bourbon stayed in that siloed thought process of we do it one way and we do it that way well, and that's sort of what we were known for forever. And then this
Yes.
this boom that we've been in, now you're seeing we want to try it in different barrel. We want to second finish it in different barrel types, and now we're getting to where we've learned that longer age stated whiskeys can work with bourbon. You just have to do it the right way so that oak doesn't take over. And as we get ready to drink through a 47-year-old Talisker, how do you guys get it from day one to year 47 and not have the barrel take over? Like, what is the process? I know slow and go is a starting point. So I'll let you jump off there and maybe walk us through that a little bit.
All right. Long maturation is an essential part of what we do at Diageo. So we do core releases that can be from like 10 years, 12, 18, whatever. And then we do extra long maturations, and we've been doing this for a long, long time. One major thing you have to understand is that the temperature in Scotland is nowhere near the temperatures you will see in a rickhouse in Kentucky, for example. Whereas in bourbon, the proof can go up, whereas in Scotland, the proof or ABV always goes down. So we're always losing alcohol through our angel share because of the climate. But at the same time, we're also going into used casks. So used barrels. So not like the bourbon industry where they're brand new American oak, typically. What we're using are used casks. So less active. So you can do a longer maturation. But if you were to take a bourbon and mature it for 47 years, you would just taste the oak. It would be very astringent. It would be like an oak bomb. Whereas in Scotland, we have these long controlled maturations. And then once we get to a certain point, like our blending team will go and reassess, and they'll pull samples from the casks. And they think, maybe we're getting to the apex point where distillery character is here and wood is here. The trick is to always get it before it gets to this apex point, because you still want it to taste like the distillery, in this case, Talisker, and you don't want it to taste like the vessel that it's being matured in. So they're very judicious and mindful about that. And if they feel like it's gonna go past that apex point, they will transfer it into another cask. It will go into a very inactive cask, so it will just sit there and it won't really mature anymore in terms of the oak characteristic, but it will develop flavor profiles like esters and aldehydes and things like that. So complexity will continue, but the oak effect will not. So it's all down to the climate, how cold it, it typically is in our warehouses. That we don't have fluctuations like you would in rick warehouses or warehouses in the United States. So yeah, we have a very controlled, long maturation. Yeah, and we've been doing it for a long time. We're very good at it. We have about 10 million barrels in Scotland today, our company, and we keep a close eye on those aged rare stocks. So yeah, they're very careful about not going past that point.
And when you say they get transferred to an inactive barrel, you mean just it's been used so many times that
Yeah,
yeah, okay,
yeah,
perfect.
yeah. And we keep those um specifically for these extra aged maturations. So if it does get to that point where like actually the cask that it's in, it's just got a little too much activity still left in it. If we continue, then there be dragons. So they will then what we call re-rack, which basically means that they disgorge from the barrel and it will go into another barrel. So and then that way, say we want to have this a 47-year-old and they look at it when it's like 44 or 45 and they're like, we have to be really careful here. So it will then get transferred into a less active cask. And sometimes, you're just very lucky. We've got a 55-year-old that we just released from Glenuri Royal, and we didn't have to re-rack that at all. That was distilled in 1970. It's 55 years old,
Wow.
and it's a fluke. But it's one of the most amazing flukes I've ever tasted in my life. Tastes like apple strudel.
Oh, come on. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. We'll have to send you some.
I don't, yes, 1,000%. So when you're walking it through, you mentioned 10, you mentioned 12. As you're building up, what are the difference in flavor notes that you get from the earliest release all the way up to what we're going to be tasting today?
Yeah, so when you're looking at younger liquids, that's when you're seeing like young, vibrant characteristics. It's still young and like active, so you're getting a lot more smoke. Like younger whiskeys that are smoky are typically more smoke forward. As smoke kind of gets into these older age eras like 20, 30, 40, then the smoke is way more subdued. So if you're tasting an old whiskey that's smoky, it's very, very gentle on the smoke. Sometimes it's hard to actually see the smoke because all these other flavors are now added in there because you're creating new flavors as you mature. So the creation of new congeners and aldehydes and things like that, esters that are going to be really fruity. The other thing that you will see is, within oak, you've got lignin and hemicellulose and cellulose. The lignin portion of it changes over time as well. So as lignin deteriorates, it takes on a tropical note. So extra aged scotches have this really nice, distinct, like papaya, like charred pineapple note to them that you won't see with these younger liquids as well. So there's a whole host of things that go on inside the barrels as they get older that just makes them more complex. To me, a little more interesting. And that's not to say that the younger ones aren't incredible because they are, but they are what they are, and the old ones are what they are. They're very different propositions, and you're not going to be drinking 47-year-old whiskey every day.
Right, right.
Whereas, you can have a 10-year-old and you can go into a bar anywhere in the world and order Talisker 10 and it's going to be amazing. So they all have a place.
1,000%. And I think it's super interesting that as the age profile grows, that those are like papaya coming off of just natural maturation is an absolute just mind blower in terms of like how, you know what I mean? Like that's just straight up nature working and creating those flavor profiles. It kind of blows me away a little bit to tell you the truth.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fascinating. I'm like a nerd, so the whole chemistry thing.
Yes,
Like,
please. I was hoping
I,
you would, that was what I was getting ready to ask.
yeah, and we can go as nerdy as you want.
Take me to school. That's what I wanted to hear.
Well, whilst we're on the topic, the other thing you can do is you can control fruit at a very early stage. Say you want to have a very fruity whiskey, you just do a much longer fermentation. So you're making a barley beer and then distilling it typically twice. Although Talisker used to be triple distilled, but that stopped in the 1920s. We don't know why, but it's now double distilled. So if you do a long fermentation, then you get a buildup of what's called lactobacilli, and then lactobacilli has this kind of almost like really wonderful kind of strawberry fruity note to it. And then again, because you've got that fruit heart in there, as that matures, that fruit will then develop. It will stay fruity, but then you'll get the addition of other characteristics that come from the wood. And then again, if it's got American white oak in there, as lignin deteriorates, you've got fruit on fruit. So you've got this kind of fruit cocktail going on in there. And then at the back end of that, you've still got this wonderful, gentle, controlled smoke. So it's really organic chemistry, controlled organic chemistry that takes a very, very long time. And some people say you can rush it, and you cannot. I've
No.
tasted experiments where people have used ultrasonic, and it doesn't taste the same. It's a poor facsimile. You just have to wait. And that's the wonderful thing about whiskey,
A
is that
thousand
it
percent.
takes it takes as long as it takes.
Uh, I always try to not be with the person who is trying to talk me into some mad scientist version of expedited maturation,
Yeah.
because you can't, there's no way, like you can nod your head, but the eyes tell the truth when you're tasting something that's just that, it just never tastes right. It
No.
always has that little hint of, like, the same way that they say Diet Coke tastes like regular Coke. You get the saccharin, you can tell the difference.
Yeah. Yeah. Although I do like Diet Coke.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
I'm not against it, but you can tell the difference between the two.
all right.
So,
Anyway, did that answer your question? I can
it did.
talk all day about this kind of stuff, so
No,
just
I think that's beyond
rein me in
interesting.
when you need to.
No, no, no. I think that is beyond interesting that you're able to, that this process is so refined that you're able to get out of the grains what you need to based off of what you want the end result to be. I just think it's a mastery of the science that goes into this whole game, and
Yeah.
it's super impressive to hear that that's how you get to a 47 year, and that's how you get some of those notes we're going to be tasting. Uh, for the people that might be approaching it for the first time, how would you, like, if they're drinking Talisker 10, they're drinking Talisker 12, how would you ask them to prep before they dive into one of these longer age stated Talisker 47, for example?
It's pretty easy. Avoid big flavors about an hour before you are going to be tasting them. So blue cheese, for example, that's got also fat in it that's going to coat your palate, and it's going to continue that blue cheese flavor profile for a decent amount of time. So yeah, avoid those big flavors. Avoid strong cologne, because you don't want to have that kind of getting in the way of your sensory experience. And then water, refresh your palate before we get going. Just clear the day off of your palate, whether or not you've had coffee or whatever. You just want to have a really nice kind of neutral start to where we're going to go with these wonderful whiskeys. So what we're going to look for is like the complexity. What we're going to look for is like the flavor profile, the mouthfeel, the aroma, what it feels like in terms of the warmth, what the smoke level feels like. There's all these different quantifiables that go into like really examining and enjoying the liquids. Because at the end of the day, it's all about enjoyment as well. We can get as nerdy and granular, but at the end of the day, it's, do you like it? Does it taste nice? Does it make you feel excited? Are you going to recommend it to your friends? You know, all of these different things. And it's just about enhancing your life and bringing more joy to you. So that's what we're about to do. We're about to bring joy to you, Jesse.
I can't wait, and I 1,000% agree with the sentiment there that this is meant to like enhance whenever someone's having something that is on the level we're about to experience. You want them to take away that like something new. Like the
Man,
palate's constantly growing. If you've never had this before, then just prep yourself accordingly. To your point, like I've not like I had a master distiller tell me a long time ago that when she would do her picks or when she would be making her choices, wouldn't wash her hair, wouldn't brush her teeth, like anything that could possibly detract from the sensory, just wouldn't have it. So
yeah.
I am here alone today because I am just nothing is going to get in the way of me and this whiskey as I wanted to experience it with you and have it on the palate the first time, just as organic as it possibly can be. And with all of that, we've teased these people enough. Do you want to dive into a couple pours with me?
Yeah, let's start with Talisker 30. So it's a really good starting point. It is a yearly release. I'm gonna pour myself one as well. It is a yearly release, so it is a genuine vintage. Each year is slightly different in terms of the flavor profile because what you're dealing with is an organic thing. So every barrel is different. You will have variances from cask to cask. So as we do these vatings once a year, there will be different influences coming through from it. There will be slight variances. This is like I say, this is the minimum year in here is 30. This is at cask strength, so it's at 49.6 ABV. So you double that for American proof. The combination of casks in here predominantly ex-bourbon. So the backbone of this is ex-bourbon casks, but there is a tiny amount of sherry in here. So there's a little Oloroso matured just to soften it out just a touch. And I I adore this whiskey, and we're gonna do a little nosing and tasting, and I'll show you how I was told how to nose and how to taste a long time ago, when I was onboarding with Diageo with a wonderful gentleman called Keith Law, who's an organic chemist, and he was like, "Well, how would you?" He said to me, "How would you nose whiskey?" And I was like, "Well, I would just do this." He's like, "Nope, that's not what you do. What you want to do is imagine here we go. Imagine your glass, and these are like Glencairn glasses, as a clock face. What you want to do is keep your mouth slightly open and start your nose above the 12 o'clock position, and then slowly move it down whilst gently inhaling and get to below the 6. Why would you do that? Well, because in whiskey, you've got congeners or impurities. They all have different molecular weights. Because we've got a high strength alcohol here, nearly 50 ABV, what we're going to see is the alcohol propelling those really light congeners up. So fruits like esters are very light, so they always sit up here. So when you smell this, that's where your fruit, your orchard fruits are all going to come through here. As you get further down, that's where those more neutral ones are hovering around. So like vanilla is going to hang out here because vanillic acid kind of hovers depending on the strength. And then you get further down, and that's where your wood sugars are going to sit because they're very heavy. They're called complex polysaccharides, and they drop off like an invisible waterfall. And then you'll also get smoke down here because phenol or the phenol groups are all heavy as well. So they drop off. So you're going to see fruit, then you're going to see vanilla, oak characteristic. If there's any spiciness to this, like clove, baking spice, they sit around the middle, and then your sugars and smokes towards the bottom. So let's have a little look.
Let's do it.
So for me, you've got this really nice, it's like I always kind of when I look at Talisker, I get this baked apple note, this kind of almost like apple strudel characteristic. You've got like muscovado sugar. You've got this wonderful like baked apple note in here. So it's not overtly like orchard fruit forward. Whereas if you were smelling something like something from Speyside, for example, like a Singleton from Speyside, they've got this really incredible like green apple note that will sit up here. This is more of a subdued like baked apple. Then you get further down, that's where you're starting to get a little bit of that spicy clove prickle that's going to come through. That comes through from chemicals like eugenol or 4VG, which is a really sexy thing to say, but it's 4-vinyl guaiacol. It comes from the oak. And if you ever taste a rye whiskey and you get that white pepper note, that's
Right.
4VG. So every day's a school day. There you go. And then as we then get further down, that's when there's really wonderful like caramelized sugars are going to be sitting down here. So that's where it goes from being this like apple strudel down into this apple strudel with toffee in it. And then your smoke is sitting down here, but it's like a sweet controlled smoke. It's not a medicinal smoke. So if you taste like whiskeys, some of the whiskeys from Islay, for example, they have a very medicinal note to them, which for some people can be quite off-putting. It's a chemical called cresol phenol that has that medicinal note to it. What we're seeing here is this really sweet smoke that's coming through from it. So you will see sweet smoke from Lagavulin, for example, but you will see a much more gentle sweet smoke coming through from Talisker. What did you get?
I got the apple all day long off the top of it, and my favorite part was right when you got past it and you got into what you called the sugars with the apple. It was like a hint of it reminded me of almost like a caramel apple, like
Yeah,
just that hint,
exactly.
right? And it
Yeah.
just sat there beautifully, and the smoke sort of played right around it, and then you got deeper into it, and it just the whole thing. It makes you want to drink it. Like the whole time, it's like you're having to hold your hand back just to keep for going in for a sip because it just is. It's the aroma is like a cartoon where the hand's coming out of a pie. It just like
Yeah.
reaches out and you want to dive in. And I cannot wait to drop 4VG in regular conversation the next time I'm having rye whiskey with somebody like, that's 4VG right there. Yes, 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 yes. And then they'll
There you
kind of
go.
ask me what it stands for.
I've added to your lexicon, Jesse.
But no, because then I'm going to have to call you to remind me what it stands for.
Once we're done, I'll text it to you.
There we go. There we go.
I love it. All right, let's have a little taste.
Let's do it. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh my.
How good is that?
I oh my. The depth of flavor is blowing my mind a little bit.
It's very warming though. Like you'll feel, and initially there's a little bit of a spicy, again that Szechuan spicy prickle.
Right?
Um, but there's obviously no Szechuan peppercorns in here. But
Right, right.
if you do ever have like a Szechuan peppercorn, you have this like numbing sensation. It's called the trigeminal effect. And with Szechuan peppercorns, it actually comes from a chemical called hydroxy alpha sanchool. So there you go. There's some more lexicon for you. But with this, we're seeing that prickle coming through from the oak and the congeners coming from the wood themselves. There's a wonderful oiliness
Yes.
that's within here. So that really kind of silky mouth feel. Your apple strudel with your toffee is definitely still in here. There's a gentle salinity to this. There's a really subtle nuttiness that will come through as well. So that's coming through from European oak. But it's just a beautiful whiskey. And the strength of this, it's nearly 100 proof. You would never think that this was nearly 100 proof.
No, by any stretch.
Yeah.
And the way it works the room is just absolutely brilliant. Like the mouthfeel, it rolls around. It's not hitting anything all at once. It's sort of hitting those sections as it works the room. It's like it's not taking over any part of it, but it is coating your palate. And the salinity was a great. Ooh. It's a sensory experience.
Yeah.
Like it's just all of the things hitting you. I could see this being a sit here for a freaking hour and just go through. Like you could geek out on this. Like you could really just dive deep and geek out over everything you're getting from this freaking whiskey.
Yeah. Yeah. And the finish is really gentle as well. There's a really gentle sweetness that sits at the end, but the sweetness is then amplified by the salinity. And then that beach bonfire is there, but it's a beach bonfire that's like a quarter of a mile away, and you're by the seaside, and you're eating your caramel toffee apple dessert and having the best day of your life.
I can picture like if you were to put the finish of this, uh, if you were to visualize it, every like I can picture exactly what you're saying. Where like you're down the beach from the fire, like
Yeah.
you're not right next to it. You're like it's in the air and you're getting salty smoke, but it's not like knocking you out. It's more of just like a comforting, just atmospheric. Good Lord, deliciousness.
Yeah. But it takes you to another place. So
Oh,
it's
100%.
almost like transformative in the way that when you taste this, you can kind of imagineer yourself somewhere else, because it is a very distinct, very powerful sensory experience when you taste these whiskeys. And that's what whiskey should be like. It should be a wonderful sensory experience, and it should help challenge you as well and come up with descriptors that mean something to you as well. So I love this whiskey. It's very
I think
special.
and that is a tie that binds. Like as people are getting into whichever whiskey they start with, bourbon, scotch, uh, there's no wrong answers. Whatever they're getting is what they're getting. And I think the beauty of this 30 is the sensory journey that it takes you on. It is all enveloping. Like
Yeah.
it is a thing that will take you. It might not, it's probably going to put us on the same beach, even if we're not right next to one another. You know what I mean? Like it is a refined experience where you're getting, it takes you there. You said it perfectly. It just puts you in that frame of mind where you can't really focus on anything else, which is my
Yeah.
favorite part about a good whiskey.
Yeah.
It captures that piece of your imagination and it won't really let it go. I'm not thinking about 10 minutes from now. I'm not thinking of 10 minutes ago. I'm thinking of this whiskey right here, right now.
Yeah. Well, maybe we are on the same beach. I can shout at you across the sea loft.
Oh
Um,
man.
all right. Shall we move on?
Let's do it. Let's do
All
it.
right. So now we're gonna taste Talisker 45-year-old. This is at 49.8 ABV. Again, natural cask strength.
We've jumped
This
15 years.
so 45-year-old liquid. The
Oh,
interesting thing about the story here is that we like to do these cask finishes, but it should make sense to the overall liquid when you taste it. And what we wanted to do here was amplify the flavor profile of spice by getting further into what we call the red line of the wood or the oak. So we had 12 barrels that had Talisker in it. So this same liquid, we took the Talisker out, and then we sent those casks, empty casks, to the Pemberton ice fields in British Columbia, took the ends off them. So we sent a cooper from Scotland to look after them. And then they sat on an ice field for 96 hours. Why, you may ask, is because we wanted to hyper chill the insides of those casks so they would crack. They create what are called micro fissures, which are just like cracks that go down in deeper into the wood. So after that 96 hours, we put the ends back on them and we sent them back to Scotland, and then we poured that old liquid, or decanted that old liquid back into those casks, and then finished them out up to 45 years. And what we're going to see that with this whiskey is unbelievable. It's just got an incredible amount of layers of flavor in here. You've got old kind of oaky vanilla notes to it, but there's a really wonderful brightness to this one. Whereas the first one is like baked apple. This one's got more of that kind of green apple freshness to it. So it's a very vibrant whiskey.
And it jumps out of you right away. Like if you're
Yeah.
going straight from 30 to 45, that vibrance is the first major shift that you see as you
Yeah.
nose this bad boy.
Yeah. But the smoke, you probably notice the smoke is way more subdued. So now at 45 years, you're actually having to look for the smoke. So you're looking through the orchard for that beach bonfire, which is now maybe a mile away. So we've got a little more distance and we've got a little more work to do to find that smoke now.
It's
Well,
still there though.
yeah, it's still there, but you do have to look for it. It's like those magic eye pictures people were obsessed with in the 90s. You got to keep looking and focusing.
Well, it's the same logic, right? Like don't look for it, just experience it and you'll
Yeah,
find it.
absolutely. All right, let's have a little taste. Cheers.
Here's that is
All right.
insanity. Oh wow. I mean, you could just wow.
So for me, on the nose, it's like green apple. On the palate, it's more like tangerine. There's a citrusy note
Citrus.
to it,
Mm-hmm.
which is it's a kind of a juxtaposition between the nose and the palate. But I get that there's a little bit of a kind of a heather floral note that sits in here as well. You've got a little mossy note to this one, which is really delicious. And then we were talking earlier on about that long fermentation will give you a kind of strawberry characteristic. This is like strawberry syrup. So you've got your tangerine, your strawberry syrup, you have your wonderful beach bonfire, you've got your salinity. It's just a completely different animal from the 30-year-old.
It really is. And the way this you've got your salinity and your smoke, but the way that those other you just wouldn't have expected this after the 30 year. Like
Yeah.
your palate's half expecting more of that apple, especially from the nose. And
Hmm.
then when you get in, it's that citrus with that hint of berry, and it's just the sugars come together.
Yeah.
And good Lord, it is another all enveloping sensory because it takes the palate, it doesn't leave 1 inch of the palate alone. Like
Yeah.
it is just the same way it spent some time in that cold, cracking it open so it could absorb more. It's kind of doing that to your palate, and it's permeating the tongue, and it's in there. Like it is
Yeah.
just taking you for a ride.
What a special whiskey, though.
Oh
I
my
remember
goodness,
the
yes.
first time I tasted this, and I'm a bit of a cynic, so I read the process, and I was just like, this sounds like something a marketing department got very excited about, and then I tasted the liquid, and I was like, all right, I get it. This is a transformative whiskey. You know, it's very unique. It's got these incredible characteristics to it, an incredible complexity, and then a really, really long finish. But it still has that trademark oily mouth feel, that silky mouth feel to it.
So good.
It's just, it's just unbelievable.
So when you bring this, you're the luxury brand ambassador. When you are taking this out and you know how whiskey people try to not seem impressed by things, like
Mhm.
especially when you're taking them something that is this just above and beyond. Do you have people try to fight it? Do you have people try to fight like how good it is, and you can just tell that and then they just can't help it and they love it?
That doesn't actually happen as often as you would think.
Yeah, they're just on board
Yeah,
immediately.
the folks who most of my customers and most of the people I talk to I've known for a long, long time, and I know what their palates are, and you know, I never like embellish on things or I never like overhype things. So I let them discover it themselves, and you know, it's an almost perfect whiskey. So everyone has loved this. In fact, I tasted some people on it just the other day, and they hadn't had it in a while, and they were just, I forgot how great this whiskey was. Um,
Even at the end of it, even at the tail, like the finish is still going. Like
yeah,
it just now worked its way into that backside palate.
yeah.
Just good Lord.
But for me, it's that strawberry at the end that just kind of lingers there. But again, it's strawberry with just a touch of sea salt in there. And then the toffee's kind of gone away, and you're still left with this like slight like tartness. It's 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 unbelievable. It
Yeah,
really is.
it really is.
All right. You having fun, Jesse? You enjoying yourself?
I can't say enough. This is beyond expectations. I didn't
Oh,
cheat. I didn't jump into it before we got started. I wanted to experience this with the man himself, somebody that could help me understand what I was experiencing as I went through it. And you have done a phenomenal job. How are we taking this thing home? How are we landing this plane?
we're landing it with our oldest Talisker to date, which is Talisker 47-year-old magma cask. I'm going to explain how it got its name in a moment, but let me just pour a little out. And then we're going to have a little look at this one. There's only 622 bottles of this
I
on
saw that.
planet Earth. Um, this was all in American oak hogsheads, and then it was finished for 4 months in casks that were virgin American oak from the Salem Plateau in Missouri. It's where we got our oak from this, and it was air dried in France, and we had a cooperage there that we created. We didn't create, but we utilized this unique process that this cooperage lent to us, which is toasting using rocks. And how does that work? Well, you take the ends off of your barrels, it sits on a roller, so the cask is rotating, and then inside it, there's like a curvature, like almost like pizza oven that says static, and we pack that full of volcanic rock from the Isle of Skye. So it's basalt. It's 56 million years old, and it's from the Isle of Skye. So we put that in there. That's then superheated, and then the cask is rotated around it, and it does this incredible toasting of the inside of the wood. So in the indirect radiation is toasting it, and we're utilizing that wonderful volcanic rock to do so. Then we send that back to Scotland, and then we put our aged Talisker back in there. And again, it's a 4 month finish, takes it up to 47 years old, and we're about to taste it. Get
Goodness
ready.
gracious. I am ready. Let's do this thing.
All right.
I love how much thought you guys put into these things. Just the methodology is amazing.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of thought that goes into all of these, because when you think about it, you know, it's been in cast for so long. You have to be very careful what you do with it.
Right.
You also have to be very respectful of what you do to it. And again, there's no more of it. So it's a finite resource. So we only have X amount of these barrels, a tiny amount, 622 bottles for the whole planet. So it's rarefied stock in here. So you have to be very careful about your finishing. All right. There's a really nice, like, again, the toffee's in here, but there's more of a kind of floral lift to it. There's a little bit of a like Hessian sack, like almost like dusty note to it. Again, our distant bonfire is now a mile and a half away.
Uh-huh. That's right. That's right. The legs
Yeah.
on this too, the viscosity.
Yeah, but there's a tiny bit of like wet slate minerality in here as well. Typically, I get that minerality off of like agave spirits, but to see it in a Scotch whiskey is quite rare.
It define that a little more. I think I'm picking it out. Are you walk me through that one a little more?
So,
I couldn't pinpoint.
so I describe it as like wet slate, so kind of like a flinty stone kind of minerality.
Mm-hmm.
It's very subtle. It's very gentle.
It's right
Um,
under that floral note.
yeah. Let's have a little sip. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh my goodness. It's incredible warmth. Like there's really wonderful warming of your whole palate. You
Hmm.
feel it all the way down into your chest. It's kind of lighting you up like a beacon by the seaside. So now we can see each other at both sides of that seawall. We're both glowing right now.
1000%.
But that sweetness is there. It's not a domineering sweetness. Again, I say integration. It's like perfectly balanced with everything else that's going on in here. I don't really get the minerality now. That was more on the nose. It's really this incredible, like gentle smoke, sea salt. You've got toffee in here. You've got a little bit of that floral note that kind of lifts it just a little bit. Um, it's again that chili note, that Szechuan note is there, but it's very subdued. It's very gentle, but you can still pull it away. And again, the maritime heart to this is there, and
1000%.
the smoke is so subdued. But if the smoke wasn't there, it wouldn't be the whiskey that it is because it's still got a little kind of edge to it. It's a, it's an absolutely spectacular whiskey.
The way it sits on top of the palate is my absolute favorite part. Like the
Hmm.
way that the oils are hitting the tongue, and then right on top of that, you're getting that sweet note. Like it just works so well together. And then this, oh man, and then the smoke's right on the edge.
Yeah.
Like it's like if you were building a foundation, the foundation it just matches the house. Like the whole thing ties together, and it's again it's also still going. Like it is a long finish, but it's weird because the finish hits you like right away. That hug you were talking about, like it warms you up immediately, and
Hmm.
then as you sit with it, it kind of keeps going and expands like it
Yeah.
boomerangs.
Yeah. Um, so all all three of these are very different, but they
Yeah.
all have the DNA. They all have that Talisker DNA, which is that gentle smoke, that seaside beach bonfire note, that little chili catch that's coming through from it. Um, but then they're also different as well.
100%. Like
Each
like
one is incredible, but they're all incredible in a different way. They all deliver something different.
and there's a nice nuttiness that comes off at the tail end of this one that's just I'm absolutely enamored with right now.
Hmm. So if this was transporting you somewhere, Jesse, where are you right now?
I think I'm on my back porch with a cigar.
Uh-huh.
No, I this one you're still at the beach. I like your let's stick with the fire analogy because like you're still it's like more you're walking down the beach and you're just being enveloped by the that ocean, by the there's still smoke, but there is that merry time, and there's just like it's a very peaceful sipper. Like this
Yeah,
one takes you almost to a state of calm, if that makes sense.
absolutely.
But I think that's the beauty of all three of these. There's a sensory experience that is kind of, I think you said transformative earlier,
Mm.
but it takes you on sort of that trans, like meditative state almost. Like I don't want to like oversell it, but it does. It's like it's calming and it's centering, and I think it's just there's so much going on with it that the sensory kind of allows you to focus on that. Like you're
You're
not
getting
looking
very
for
transcendental and zen.
yes, yes, transcendental. That's what I was searching for right there. It's like you're luxurious even with your words.
Aw, in my mellifluous tone.
How did you get into this, by the way? Like this is you seem tailor made for this form of spirit, for this level of spirit, I should say.
I grew up on a distillery in Scotland. I was born in a village called Dufton, 250 feet away from Mortlake Distillery. Dufton also has Balvenie and Glenfiddich and Glendallen, and so there's a large amount of distilleries in that tiny village. And then I grew up on a small distillery in Speyside. My dad worked there, and my grandfather worked at Cardew Distillery, which is the first distillery that the Johnny Walker family purchased. in 1890s. And so yeah, I grew up around whiskey. And then at the age of 16, I started working at that distillery. So I've been in whiskey for a long time. And my son is the Johnny Walker ambassador for the Northeast of the United States.
Oh,
So
that's amazing.
I'm third generation. He's obviously fourth. So that's how I got into it. I was born into it.
Yeah, you've just been. I mean, that's everything makes perfect sense. Then it all falls into line. It's in your blood.
Yeah. When I worked at the distillery, my commute was about 30 seconds because my house was right next to the distillery,
That sounds like
which is a good thing and a bad thing.
right, right.
It's good because it's easy to get there. It's bad because if they needed someone to do things in the middle of the night,
you're still there.
Muggins here.
So for anybody looking to track these down, like how like there's a very limited release of all of these in consideration of how many are normally out and about in the world, like of your 10 or your 12 year. How if people see it, just pick it up. Like how would you advise
Yeah,
folks
if
on?
people are interested in purchasing these and acquiring these, then like good good liquor stores that have a good Scotch selection will know how to get them. Um, if you go online to Reserve Bar, you will find them there also. And then there's the Diageo Rare and Exceptional US site, and then that will direct people and kind of guide them along and how they can get them in their respective markets.
I just can't get over. I can't thank you enough for sharing these with me today.
My
In
pleasure.
the U.S., the 47-year-old only has 105 bottles allocated. In
Yeah.
For the 45, it's 272 bottles allocated, and for the 30, it's 741. I mean, like all combined, there's 1,000 bottles of this floating around the U.S. And you were nice enough to share a flight with me today, so I cannot thank you enough for allowing all of us to go on this Talisker adventure with you this afternoon.
It's been my absolute pleasure. I've probably had just as much fun as you.
Hey,
I love doing these things. So, like I said at the beginning, my job does not suck. I truly adore what I do. I'm a very lucky person to get to do what I do. So, thank you so much
no.
for spending some time with me to go through these incredible whiskeys from one of my favorite distilleries, Talisker. So it's been a genuine pleasure.
Hey, well, we got to do it again. There's a lot more good whiskey out there, and I can already tell we have a good time drinking together. So let's get back together soon and drink some more.
In person next time, though.
Hey, I'll be there. I'll be there. I'm
I love it.
sure we're probably at a lot of the same places anyway, and just didn't know that we already knew each other.
I know. I know. That'd be
All right.
great.
Well, I thank you, sir, so much for your time, and I might have to have a little bit more of that 45 or that 47 because both of or the 30. Good Lord, there's not a miss here. All three of them are just beyond the beyond the beyond, and I have a feeling I know how the rest of my Friday is going to go.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what a perfect way to kick off your Friday evening
Right?
earlier.
Oh
So,
my goodness.
got a head start.
That's right. That's right. All right, sir. Thank you again so very much, and
Thank
I
you.
hope to see you again soon.
Likewise. Thank you so much, Jesse.
Cheers.
Cheers.